never get a second chance. Wow. So many lessons that we learn in life at the most interesting times. I remember I was in a in a church, and I was in many churches in my life. My dad was Christian, my mom Seventh-day Adventist, so we went to church on Saturdays when I was spending time with my mom. And when I was first in San Antonio, Texas, we were doing missionary work. There was a project that we were doing in Costa Rica. So as part of my church, and this was years ago, I don't know how young I was, maybe in my teens, they flew us out to Costa Rica. And we got to see Costa Rica. It was the first time I had ever been out of the country. And I remember they were driving us up this windy road, and they were showing us, they were driving us up to this inactive volcano. And I saw different levels of vegetation changing in the jungle, and just the monkeys and the sounds and just the plants and the flowers and the trees. And it was just amazing. It was like I had never seen such lush vegetation in my life. It had never occurred to me that the world could look this beautiful, right? And not on a TV screen, in actual real life, in actual reality, right? Like if you've ever seen the guy with the actual reality goggles, it's like virtual reality, but he has the eyes cut out, and he's like, actual reality. That's what it felt like to explore Costa Rica. And as a young teen, as a young boy, I was blown away, especially when I got that poison ivy. Costa Rica's where I got that strong poison ivy, not the weak kind, the strong kind. It was all over my body. I couldn't sleep. I was up all night. I couldn't even lay on one side. I was just screaming. I was in agony. I was in pain, scratching my face, and my whole body had welts that were just extended off of my skin, and it was just so painful. But before that happened, an interesting thing happened with a couple of girls from Costa Rica. We were doing a project where we were helping them build houses. And I remember that while we were, with the locals helping them build these houses, we would look over, and there would be these girls that were kind of pointing at us and like giggling and looking at us and speaking in Espanol, and then pointing and giggling and looking at us. And we were like, what are they looking at? And then we were looking at them, and we're like, oh, they look really nice. They look beautiful. They're pretty, right? But we didn't know how to talk to them. They spoke zero English. We spoke zero Espanol. I mean, un poquito Espanol, but basically zero Espanol, right? So we wanted to figure out a way to tell these girls that, we liked them or that they were pretty. So I asked one of the guys, from the Costa Rican town, I asked him, hey, how do we tell those girls, like, she's pretty? This is before, you had a rocket ship, a phone in your pocket with Google Translate and all that. This is before all that. So I asked one of the guys, hey, how do I tell that girl that she's gorgeous? How do I tell her she's pretty? And he whispered in my ear. I said, that's how you say it? He said, yeah. I was like, are you sure? He's like, yeah, that's how you say it. Go ahead. I was like, oh, okay. All right. So I walked up to her. I'm all suave, get myself together. And she sees me walk up to her, and you see that she gets, she didn't expect me to actually come over to her. She stands a little bit taller, right? She's looking at me, I'm looking at her. I walk straight up to the girl, and I tell her and her friend, I say exactly what the guy told me in my ear. I say, tú es muy gordita. And it was like time stopped. And she just looked at me, and ¿Qué? Like I wish you would have seen the look on her face. Like her face started to contort and twist into almost like she smelled something very repulsive in that moment. Like, ¿Qué? I said, tú es muy gordita. You know, I tried to say it in the best way I could to pronounce it correctly, right? I wanted to get this right. And her friend just looked at me. They were stunned. And they just slowly backed away and just started walking in the other direction. And if you know what that actually means in Espanol, then you understand where I messed up. But here's the thing. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. After I said that, they avoided us like the plague. I never saw her again nearby. She was gone. It was gone. The chance was gone, right? But that's all it took. You know, I don't know what she must have thought about me, but in that moment, she had all the evidence. She knew all she needed to know in that moment. So I implore you, make sure that you have the right language when you're communicating to others, especially strangers, because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. A first impression is so key. I've learned this in life now, and I'll go out of my way that whenever I meet some soul family, soul tribe, I make sure that that first impression is powerful, you know, is potent, and it never fails, you know? You have a memorable experience. You have an awesome moment. You have a wonderful, divine encounter with someone. You never forget that again. You know, you always remember. So what are the memories that stay in your mind, you know? So blessings. Thank you for listening. Surya says, that's awful of that guy. Yeah, he definitely played a little trick on me. Yeah, I was supposed to say, eres muy hermosa, or something like that. Eres muy bonita, hermosa, would have been much better, but he said, no, tú es muy gordita, go tell her. Go tell her. She'll like it, right? I promise. Nope, not the reaction I was expecting. Drake says, that wasn't nice. You didn't deserve it. Hey, man. Hey, you know, we all got to learn somehow. That was a lesson learned. So it was a lesson for me to understand the power of the first impression. And actually, now that I look back, I take it as a blessing. So much love, my friend. Take care. We'll see you soon. We're already there.